Fox News Alert, a bipartisan group of senators on Capitol Hill sending a strong warning to Iran. They are introducing a resolution backing the use of U.S. military force, to stop Iranian leaders from getting their hands on nuclear weapons. The senators are making it clear the time for talk is running out.
Distraction by negotiation while you become a nuclear power is not an option for you. And containment of a nuclear Iran is not an option for us.
We're for real. There's still time. Do the right thing, and you can avoid consequences that are unpalatable to you as well as a last resort for us.
We will end their nuclear weapons program. We will prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons capability. This is a deadly serious moment.
This shows that the senators are prepared to stand with Israel, but what about the White House? Joining us now, Dan Gillerman, he's a former Israeli ambassador to the UN and a Fox News contributor. Ambassador, the rhetoric is ratcheting up. You heard what the senator said, but the White House is already saying that they believe that Iran's latest overtures, suggesting it might now resume talks about its nuclear program, those have been stalled for a year, is promising. They're talking about how this is the message or the response they've been waiting for. Are you as encouraged?
Well, I'm very encouraged, Megan, by the stand which this bipartisan group of senators has shown by drawing a line in the sand and actually saying to Iran, time is running out, watch out, enough is enough. I'm not as impressed by the excitement shown by the White House and by the European Union at the fact that the Iranians are ready to talk. I just can't believe this. I mean, here's a country that has been fooling the world while at the same time not only developing a nuclear weapon and threatening to wipe Israel off the face of the map and destroy civilization as we know it, but blowing up places all over the world, having Iranian-controlled terror attacks just this week in India, in Thailand, in Georgia, at the same time having their proxies in Syria butchering thousands of their civilians, and the world is excited by the fact that they are willing to talk. I mean, you know, there was this famous movie with Clint Eastwood where he said, you know, you want to shoot, don't talk. This talk is done by the Iranians only in order to win time. They're trying to lull the world, put it to sleep, fool it, and at the same time develop a nuclear weapon. And one day, while those talks go on, if they do, the world will wake up to a horrible, brutal, cynical, ugly reality of a nuclear Iran, and then it will be too late. And that is why the senators are right. The clock is ticking. Iran has to do the right thing and abolish its nuclear program. Otherwise, military action against Iran will be inevitable. And I assure you, Megan, that if the US does not do it, and I hope they do, Israel will. Because I would rather have the world, condemn a living Israel than console a dead Israel.
Ambassador,
we will not wait for that to happen.
What can it do? What can Iran do at this point to avert what you're saying is an inevitable strike against it? What can it do other than offer talks? It doesn't seem realistic to think they're going to come out and say, we surrender. Forget the nuclear program. We're completely abandoning it. So what short of that would stop an Israeli strike?
I think those talks will lead nowhere. There have been talks before. The Iranians are masters at talking and masking and fooling. I think that what the Iranians have to do is very simple. They have to announce to the world that they have forsaken their nuclear program. They have to allow the IAEA inspectors in to inspect each one of their sites and to make sure that this is the case. Unless they do that, they will continue to fool the world. And just as the world has woken up one day after thousands of hours of talks to a nuclear North Korea, it will wake up to a nuclear Iran. But Iran is far more dangerous than North Korea because, as I said before, North Korea acquired nuclear weapons out of desperation. Iran is seeking them out of aspiration. aspiration to rule the Arab world, to rule the oil reserves, to destroy civilization as we know it, and to bring back 2,500 years of Persian hegemony over the Arab world. We cannot allow that to happen. Not in this world. And I think one of the problems is, and that's why the Iranians are so self-assured, is that they are smelling weakness. The United States and the US president, unfortunately, are perceived as weak. The Iranians don't take him seriously, and they're saying, okay, let's talk. And the month will go by, and one day we'll just wake up to a nuclear Iran. This is a reality we cannot afford, you cannot afford, and we will not live with.
You know, Ambassador, I know that you say time is running out. Americans here are watching this very carefully. We talked about earlier in the show how even things like gas prices here are going up, in part, we believe, as a result of this conflict, this escalating tension. What does that mean, time is running out? Is it true, can you speak to it, that we're talking about a time frame of within the next few months, by May, there will be a strike, unless something dramatic happens with Iran?
Well, Megillah, I'm not sure that I can point at the exact time. I think there's a lot of factors to be considered. But I think we're certainly talking months rather than years, because the clock is ticking. Iran is very near to reaching that point of no return where they have the capability and the capacity and the know-how to produce a bomb. And if the world is worried about Iran now and is looking around it and seeing Iran trying to assassinate the Saudi ambassador in Washington, blowing up bombs in Thailand and in India and in Georgia and in our region, what is the world going to feel like and what is the world going to look like with a nuclear Iran? Just think, it will be an impossible, ugly, brutal, cynical, cruel, horrible world which no one wants to live in. So with all the risks and with all the question marks, it is far better to deal with Iran now than once it has a nuclear weapon. Once it has a nuclear weapon, once that smoking gun is there, it may very well be too late.
Ambassador, thank you very much, as always. I just want to clarify for our viewers, this resolution they've introduced on Capitol Hill reiterates that all options should be on the table when it comes to dealing with Iran. The president has said that as well, but you could hear with the senators' rhetoric, they are upping the ante when it comes to possible U.S. involvement in this.